Today I built this sick-ass custom Green Dragon PC. However, things didn't exactly go as planned.
Pulling all the paint off again.
Join me on an emotional roller coaster as the entire project goes haywire.
I'm starting to get pissed off!
And find out if this is just another sick PC build.
Let's build a sick-ass custom gaming PC.
Or could this be the end of Alexandria Customs as we know it?
At this point, I'm pretty depressed. I'm thinking of giving up, closing up my business.
Stay tuned.
So for this PC, I have a really sweet idea. We just finished setting up this new paint booth slash laser engraver station. It has a little fume sucker. So if you're laser engraving, if you're painting, it'll just suck all the fumes and blast them outside through this filter. And also, like, if you have to fart when you're building a PC, you fart into the filter and it just sucks it outside. And I wanted to use this to do a cool combination of both painting and laser engraving on the side panel to hopefully create a really cool effect. We'll see how it turns out. We've also got something special cooking up right here in the 3D printer. You'll see how we're going to integrate that later in the video. So the rest of the panels on this case are white and red. I'm going to change them all to green so we can go with a sick black and green theme because we're all about black and green here. And we already have red PCs out there. We need something green because we like to have a PC of every color available for people to purchase. So we're going to take this apart. I'm going to sand all the panels that aren't black and I'm going to paint them green. So when I said I was going to sand them and then paint them, I lied. I changed my mind because I don't feel like sanding them. So I'm just going to paint them and it's probably going to be fine. For the second coat of the black, I'm getting finger fatigue. There's two things in life that give me severe finger fatigue and spray painting is one of them. So I use this little handle here to make it a lot easier to hold down the spray can. Let's get started with the specs of this build. Let's start with the motherboard. We love these here, MSI B650 motherboards with built-in Wi-Fi. For the SSD storage, we're going to use a Kingston PCI 4.0 NVMe SSD. These are really good, and I'd like to give a special thank you to Kingston for supporting Alexandria Customs and Pimp My PC. Kingston, unleash the beast. I'm going to use this great value cooler, Thermalright Assassin X 120. RAM, we're going to go with a 32 gigabyte kit of Kingston Fury RGB Beast DDR5 RAM. Unleash the beast. For CPU, I'm grabbing the best value Ryzen CPU out right now. That's the Ryzen 7 7700 8-core processor. I'm going to use this super nice RTX 3080 Founders Edition. Power supply. These 750 watt Cooler Master power supplies should be more than enough for this build. This should be the perfect fit. For case fans, I'm going to use these Thermalright 120 millimeter RGB fans. These are super good value, really good fans for the price. If you're curious what this case is that we're customizing today, it's the Ketier's C650. It's a really cool open air exotic looking case. I love these.
Time for more green. Last coat of the black.
Assemble all the components on the motherboard. We're gonna install the case fans. And now we will install the power supply. I'm going to install the motherboard and then we'll take care of that next. So I find the challenge with cable management is the fact that it's so overwhelming when you have such a huge bunch of cables and you're supposed to organize this neatly in a case. This has a glass panel, so one, you're going to see what all the cables look like, and two, you have to actually fit it in a very narrow space. So if you bunch them all up too thick, it's going to be impossible to get the side panel back on. I find it's easiest to just group them and handle them one section at a time. So I'll do all the front panel and USB connectors first, And then what I'll do is all the power supply connections to the motherboard, and then all the remaining cables, I'll find places to tuck them in with zip ties, one by one, neatly folded in, and not too many of them all bunched up in the same spot so we can actually get the glass panel back on. We have all the fan cables here tucked away in their own section, all the front panel connectors, all in their own section here, and then all the power supply connectors down here. We'll chunk them up like that. It'll make it a lot easier to cable manage it. So first, these are plugged in, so I'm gonna tie these down nice and neat, get them out of the way. Then we'll do the power supply cables, and then we'll do the fan cables. Two more chunks to go for all you cable management nerds. Cables cable managed. Now there's just the fans. Nice and tight, nice and clean. Like this. And I'm gonna do that by drilling a hole through here, putting a screw in the back of this, and then also putting some glue behind it as a little bit of a double whammy to make sure this thing doesn't go anywhere. And then we're gonna paint it. Ta-da. Ta-da. Sick, eh? Reminds me of The Witcher. We're gonna engrave some sick-ass dragons onto this glass panel. What I'm hoping here is we can engrave off this layer of paint, and you'll see on the other side of the glass all the markings looking like it's almost engraved in the glass. And RGB light should shine through these areas and not through the black paint, so that should create a cool effect too. We'll see how it turns out. Fun fact and a word of caution when it comes to these laser engravers is I've realized if you don't let the spray paint fully dry for a few hours, and if you put the power of the laser too high, you'll actually ignite the spray paint and it'll start catching fire. So just keep that in mind if you're ever gonna try something like this, to lower the power of the laser and to allow the paint to fully dry so you don't ignite the whole thing. Install the GPU and the panels. Got a bunch of sick dragons engraved on there. Only downside is one, I regret sanding the glass because you can still see the scratch marks, but I mean, that's totally fine. And I didn't let the paint dry quite enough because it's actually pulling up where I had the laser engraver sitting on it. Honestly, I'm just gonna fill it in with black Sharpie and call her a day. Looks pretty sweet. Only thing we're gonna have to do though is all these spots where the paint's coming up, I got no choice. I'm gonna have to mask off the engraved areas and put some more black paint just to cover up those holes. I'm gonna let them dry, then we'll reassemble the computer. It's probably gonna look pretty sweet. Let's pop in the GPU. Lastly, I'm gonna add this LED strip so that we can illuminate the back of the panel and make those dragon designs kind of glow when the computer is on. The assembly is complete. While we wait for everything to dry before the final assembly, I'm gonna get Windows on this and get the RGB software on there for the final result. Here's the panel. It looks kind of cool, but you know what? The back of it looks like shit. And also, when I put it on here, it just doesn't glow like I was hoping it would. The glass doesn't pick up the light nearly as intense as I was hoping. So the one thing I'm gonna try to do to save this is I'm gonna try putting some white paint on the back and see if that helps it capture the light from the PC a little bit better and make these designs look a little bit more bold. We'll see. It'll also even out the back because it has uneven paint. Putting the white on the back might just be the finishing touch it needs. Here goes nothing. While finishing the panel, let's get these pieces back on. I put two RGB strips, one at the top, one at the bottom, that will illuminate directly behind the panel. Let's see if it creates any sort of an illumination effect. I'm starting to get pissed off! I have a light up here, a light here, and this is what happens when I put the panel on it. We do get a glowing effect, even with the lights off, and it looks pretty cool. It's just not intense enough. I think there's only one last thing I can do. Put it back on the engraver, engrave a bolder, sharper pattern, especially in the middle. The side ones look kind of good. The middle one, you can't even see. Let's do one last round on the engraver, put it back on now that it's glowing intensely green, and see what happens. Let's see if we can save this project. And now, what we're going to do is increase the intensity. Power, go. It turned out okay. You can see through it. But because I'm not waiting for the paint to dry, look, it's pulling all the paint off again. At this point, I'm pretty depressed. I'm thinking of giving up, closing up my business, and just getting an ordinary job and never building another PC again. But you know what? Upon second thought, that would suck. So what I'm gonna do is go to plan B. Drastic times call for drastic measures. What I'm gonna do is completely scrap that panel. What I'll do is use it in another build where I'll paint it completely solid so you'll never know that I did any of that to butcher the panel. And what I'll do is I'll just take another glass panel from the exact same case and use it on that one. Other than that shitty panel, this is a perfectly good build. So we're gonna have to get crafty, do something with that other panel for another build, and then rescue this PC by grabbing a new identical panel. Now is risk everything and engrave on the new glass. But this is a different trick. I colored it black with Sharpie so you can actually etch onto the glass, and I'm gonna try to etch a cool looking dragon right onto the glass, which should illuminate no problem with that bright light in there. Let's hope it turns out nice. Going full power into the pecker. Here we go. Unfortunately, at this point in the video, my microphone died, but pretty much as you can see, the engraving went quite well. I just removed all the leftover Sharpie with some alcohol and paper towels, and then I installed the panel on the PC. So here's the finished result. It turned out pretty nice with the glass engraving. I'm satisfied with how it looks. And of course, that dragon head on the front is so sick. So overall, it was a fun project with a few hiccups, but we salvaged it. And we ended up making a pretty cool effect with this engraved glass, nicely illuminated by those RGB strips. Not to mention at night, it looks so cool when you have the lights off. So I'd like to thank you for watching to this point in the video. I wanted to touch upon something, and that is the whole screw up of the other panel, the original idea about having an illuminated panel. It didn't turn out how I thought it would, but you know what? Sometimes you just have to fuck around to find out. If I hadn't done that, I wouldn't have learned valuable skills in relation to our new paint booth and our new laser engraver. To be honest with you, that's just the process of learning. And instead of just showing a polished, finished end result, I like to share the whole process, exactly how it happened. Now I know how to better use our equipment. I'm a better builder for it, and I had a lot of fun doing it too. It's never a loss for you to learn those experiences, make those mistakes. The other panel from the other case that we took is gonna be used in a new build. I'm not gonna put it to waste. What I'm gonna have to do is fully paint it to hide everything that's been done to it and make it look cool again in another custom build. So if you wanna see what I do with that messed up panel to turn it into something beautiful, keep an eye out because I'm for sure gonna be making another video on that build soon. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you like the raw experience of PC building here at Alexandria Customs, and I hope you have a great day. See ya.